I think being involved in life, working and whatever, just plain liking people, eating decent food and remembering to drink water instead of a lot of other stuff, just trying to be active. I mean, we rode horses and we swam and we did all kinds of things, with our kids and growing up. You need to think about how much of a commitment you're going to make. People forget that marriage is a contract. And I mean, you might think of a mortgage as a contract or a loan as a contract. Yes, it is. Marriage is a contract. It's something that you pay into with your emotions and your life and your living and the things you do and your interest. And my husband had a good saying that he didn't believe marriage was 50-50. He said it was 100-100, because if you're 100 for her, she'll be 100 for you. I think I was a better person because of him. And I did enter marriage with an idea of complete commitment. And the second thing I would say, don't grab the first person that comes along. Don't settle. You're going to live with this person for the next 50 years. You're going to have to cook for them. You're going to have to wash their dirty clothes. You're going to have to take care of them when they're sick. There are a lot of things to think about. Who are his family? How are they going to treat you? What are his friends like? Are they going to be around? What does he have in the way of pets? Is it a dog, a cat, a pig, a horse? These are things you're going to have to live with. Think about that before you take the step. I think it's important to listen to people. Just plain listen to people. My mother and father had been married for 14 years and had 4 children, buried 2 of them when they were quite young. And then when times got better, they just couldn't manage. So they divorced. And going to court and everything, the judge asked me when I was 11 years old which parent I wanted to go with. And I said, well, my mother needs me because of my little brother. And because mother had to work. And of course, daddy had his job, but he wasn't about to do any babysitting. So when I was not in school, the neighbor lady across the street from where we lived babysat my little brother, who was almost 3. And mother gone to work every day. And I think I mentioned to you that back then they had what were called blue laws. And you worked 9 to 5, 6 days a week, but on Sunday, everything closed. There were no grocery stores or anything open on Sunday. So my mother had no opportunity on Sunday to go grocery shopping or anything. So basically, I wound up doing the grocery shopping, most of the cooking, house cleaning, taking care of my baby brother, when I wasn't in school. And this was interesting. Well, as far as taking the responsibility, I didn't have much choice. I mean, what else was there to do? In reference to my teenage years, as you were remarking, I did wind up going to live with my dad and his new wife. My mother had remarried, and my little brother went with her. My mother had raised me to be a very strong reader. She had always taken me to the library and everything, and so I was always looking at books. And considering that my father was rather a strong disciplinarian, There were times that I found it a little tough being a teenager. You know, teenagers have a tough time anyway. And I read this book, The Girl of the Limberlost. It's the sequel to the book Freckles. And she had a tough way to go in this story. And I figured that she managed to get through all of this. I could too. Well, again, I go back to a book. Have you ever read Pollyanna? Even in tough times, Pollyanna found something good in whatever happened. I mean, you know, she had her struggles in the story, and came along, and it just, there was always something to look forward to. There was always something to make it better, and you just had to look for it. It was there. You could find it, but you just sometimes had to look for it. Don't just stay down there in the dumps. Well, there are some books that I start to read that I get bored with right real quick, and I just set them aside. I don't even mess with them. But I go on to books with more constructive attitudes and more. I like biographies and stuff. I like books that show a purpose, that got something done. And to me, that's interesting. Biographies, some of the old westerns are that way. Um, Animal stories sometimes will come through that way. When my husband had uh, taken some horses, transported horses down into California, he stopped at, I think it was Rex Allen's farm or ranch or whatever you call it. And he was one of the first people that had some of the new Santa Gertrudis and the limousine type cattle. And he had told my husband that if he was ever down that way to stop by, he would show them to him. And he got settled in a motel and called him and said, if the invitation is still open, I'm here. He said, where are you? He said, I'll send a car for you. So they sent the limousine down, picked him up, took him out to the ranch, and they had a barbecue and all. After they had the barbecue, he had his foreman take my husband down to take a look at the cattle. And when he came back up, of course, he's afoot, you know, and he doesn't have a car with him because they had made his transportation. So he was looking for a way to get back down to where his motel was. And this guy popped up and he said, well, I'm headed that direction. He said, why don't you ride with me? Okay, so he rode with him, and they got down to where there was a restaurant, and they went in, and they had a Pepsi or a Coke or whatever it was, and come to find out, the man who provided his transportation back to the hotel was Robert Redford. It's fun, that. Not that I'm the best artist in the world, but I like pretty things and bright things. I have a grandmother I had a grandmother that everything she had was almost some sort of red. You know, everything was bright. I like to write family stories, and Lynn Derrick helped me to learn to do some poetry, and Lynn has helped me write a lot of short stories, and I'm now part of a group over at the Senior Center, and I'm enjoying that very much.